Can the sisters restore the power of 3? I guess we'll see. Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about episode 12 of the Charmed reboot. In this episode, the girls are trying to get the power of 3 back in action. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this episode of Charmed. I also want to mention really quickly that I have launched a Patreon account, so if you really like my content and you want to keep supporting it, this is a way that you can do that. There's a link in the description box, but you can also just go to patreon.com/kmaldo, and I have a lot of fun exclusives that are going to be there that are not on my channel. So for instance, right now, depending on what tier you signed up for, you could get access to exclusive notes from Charmed Season 1 that I wrote when I was, creating all of those videos. You can get access to an extended, never-before-seen clip of an interview that I did with Jackson Rathbone where he talks about a new film that he was working on. There's also many reviews up of content that didn't make it to my YouTube channel, so if you wanted to know my thoughts on The Circle or The Stranger, you can check that out there. I hope you guys check it out, and thank you so much for your support. So let's start off with Macy. She decides that she wants to make what I think is an irrational decision to get rid of her demon powers in order to hopefully make way for her witch powers, sort of getting rid of dark energy to bring in the light energy. But really what she ends up doing is getting Abigail's help to strip herself of her demon powers, and now she's kind of powerless. This was an interesting situation because first of all, she has to rely on the person that she trusts the least and likes the least. She also makes a lot of discoveries in this episode, namely the fact that Parker's still alive. She also, I think, kind of makes some decisions that are questionable to me. Like I said, getting rid of her demon ability, also keeping the secret from Maggie that Parker is still alive, which to me very obviously will come out and form a huge, bigger wedge between the sisters. And I mean, that's already something that we've kind of struggled with as viewers, is we're not really having a lot of sisterhood moments in this episode. I mean, there sort of were some where they're just sitting around a table talking, but it wasn't really what I was hoping for. I thought that it would go a little bit deeper than that. But now the fact that Macy's gonna be hiding this big secret that Parker's still alive to Maggie is definitely gonna be a problem. I'm sure that that's gonna blow up in a bad way. I think in terms of getting rid of her demon abilities, that kind of came out of left field. We definitely have seen her experimenting on herself with the black amber and just trying to see why is this new power not coming back, but it just seemed very rash and un-Macy-like to just jump into, let's get rid of my powers. Isn't the demon half of what brought her back to life? Like the fact that they inserted this demon blood into her through the necromancer. So for a second when Macy was on the ground after Abigail took her demon abilities away from her, I thought, oh man, wait, is Macy maybe dead? Because isn't that kind of what was keeping her alive? But, magic, maybe there's something else that kind of goes into that, and it's not just having the power. And then we also see this moment where Macy talks to Harry, and then there's this strange kissing scene that I'm like, is that a dream? Was that a daydream? Was she actually seeing inside Harry's head? Is that a new power? They haven't clarified that yet, so I'm not sure, but I think that moment is something that we should be paying attention to for future episodes. Now Macy is powerless and Abigail has Macy's powers, and maybe that was Abigail's plan the whole time. So I think we still don't really know 100% what she's up to, and I hope it's gonna be worth it because, they're really milking this whole can we trust her, can we not trust her storyline. So, I hope that we get a good resolution to that at some point. The other half of the story that we're following is around Helen, the original whitelighter, and her Darklighter. This is the episode where we finally get the answers about Darklighters and whitelighters and how they die. It turns out that they can't kill each other, but they can kill themselves, which will then kill the other person, or they could merge. So I feel like maybe that's sort of hinting at what Harry's gonna have to do with Dark Harry. I gotta say though, I didn't really think Dark Helen was that evil. I think she was just misunderstood, and I think the same situation goes with Dark Harry. I think they kind of made it seem like, oh my god, Dark Helen's evil, she's evil, but really she was just scared and trying to protect herself, and she was afraid of the elders, and she wanted to get back to her true love. And I think all of that made me feel for her, and I could see her side. And I thought it was a really great moment when we got to see Helen and Dark Helen together, and that they were gonna merge and become one person again, and she was gonna finally be free. And then I thought they just ruined it by having that whole moment where Dark Helen was gonna attack Macy because of the Book of Elders. Then Helen decided to kill herself to save everyone. Really, they could have just waited a few seconds and maybe they could have just merged Helen and she could have been fine. And then the fact that Harry couldn't heal Helen, it's dude, maybe try taking the knife out of her before you try to heal her. I was just very disappointed with where that story went. I think they were trying to make it oh, well, this was her choice, she chose this, but, I wish that they could have let Helen have a life. They also hint that the reason Dark Helen and Helen fled from the asylum that they were at was because it was a true believer that went to the asylum and was after them. And I just thought that there was a huge missed opportunity to dive even further into that story and really connect them. Instead, it felt like this episode, you know, focused on killing off someone that maybe actually could have been very helpful to the group, especially once Helen merged together. Maybe she would have been able to actually communicate with them and help them more. And then getting rid of Macy's power, which was the most powerful of all of them, and then introduce Mel to another potential love interest. You know, so I was a little bit disappointed with this one. It felt a little cliche as well in how they revealed all together in this episode, oh, Parker's alive, Dark Harry must still be alive. We were just gonna get kind of dumped all this information in this one episode. There were a couple of moments in this episode that actually felt like they were callbacks to the first season, which I actually really enjoyed. Abigail makes a reference to the sisterhood stronger together reference that Marisol used to say. Maggie talks about different shades of gray when it comes to magic and love and, you know, being a person, and I thought that was really cool because that was something I loved about season 1, those kind of gray areas that they touched upon. And I also thought that the situation with the Darklighter really kind of reminded me of situations from season 1 where someone would be like, alright, this is a bad person, we have to kill them, and the Charmed ones would be like, no, like, let's figure out another way. And I thought that they did that a bit in the moment with Harry and Maggie when they first come across the Darklighter out in Massachusetts. In terms of the next episode, it looks like shit's going down. Like, the command center is gonna be down, powers aren't gonna be working, you know, more drama, I'm sure, is on the way. Overall, this episode, it was okay. I think I really liked learning about Helen and what she kind of went through. I think that they could have gone much deeper with her story, especially adding that true believer aspect into there and maybe expanding that more. I think Macy just acted too quickly to get rid of her powers, and now, like, what is she gonna do? She was the person who, you know, would be like the first line of defense even among the sisters, and she'd be like, no, I got this, I got this. What is she gonna do now that she has no powers? She's kind of gonna be the one now maybe struggling to contribute, and I think that's gonna be an interesting swap, actually. It's always been Maggie and Mel who kind of stuck to the back a little bit because they didn't have as big of powers as Macy, so now it's gonna be the opposite. That's gonna be definitely a different dynamic. If you like this one, you guys can check out more of my Charmed reviews right over here, and I'll catch you in my next video. See ya!